Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be about how to take care of our mental health. Stay tuned. Today's video is going to be about how to take care of our mental health. And I'm titling this video something about how to live a happier life or how to be happier, because really when we do take care of our mental health, that is the outcome. So I promise that if you follow the tips that I offer in this video, you will feel happier, you will feel more at peace, you will experience more joy in your life. This video is all about emotional self-care. What is emotional self-care? When we think of self-care, we usually think about things like getting our nails done, our hair done, bubble baths, and yes, that can all be great self-care. I've talked about that in another video. However, there's also a different type of self-care called emotional self-care, and this is taking care of our mental health and our emotional well-being. Just like our physical health, it's really important that we also take care of our mental health. So what are some things that we can do to be more mentally healthy? Let's jump into the list. Number one is going to therapy. Now this may or may not be surprising for you. Sometimes when people think about going to therapy, they think that they have to go to therapy because something is really wrong with them. Like things are really not going well in their life. Sometimes they feel like they've hit that rock bottom and therapy is that last resort, that last choice of something I can do to help make things better. I actually made an entire YouTube video on signs that you should seek out therapy, and I'll make sure that I link it below. But we should think about therapy and going to therapy as mental health care the same way that we go see our primary care physician for our physical health. Number two is stopping negative self-talk. We engage usually in a lot of negative self-talk. This is common for lots of folks, lots of people engage in negative self-talk, especially people that might have certain mental health conditions like depression, for example. They might have a constant loop of negative self-talk going on in their head. And it's interesting because we're pretty good at being optimistic towards other people and positive towards other people. Like we like to be supportive of others. But we have a hard time doing that to ourselves sometimes. We are more critical and hard on ourselves than we would usually ever be on anyone else. We can think of self-talk as this dialogue that is going on in our heads. And negative self-talk can come from a lot of different places. Sometimes it's things that we've heard said to us when we were very little and we kind of grew up with this idea about ourselves. Like someone might have said something to us in school, or maybe the way that our parents used to talk to us. And we kind of carry these ideas around about ourselves throughout life. Also, because we're not perfect people and a lot of us have made mistakes in our past, we tend to internalize those mistakes as being something wrong with us. This produces an emotion called shame. Shame is an emotion that says that there's something wrong with us. Stopping that negative internal dialogue can be a really good step in the direction to positive mental health outcomes. So how can we do that? How can we stop negative self-talk? Well, a really good thing we can do to start talking back. Yes, we can talk back to that negative self-talk dialogue in our head. We can literally be like, no, you're not right. Stop. I am worth something. I am not worthless. I am a person of value. I add value to life. My existence on this world is not meaningless. I am here for a reason and a purpose, and it is a good one. If this is a hard place to get started for you, another option is to make a list of positives. We all have self-positives. All of us have things about ourselves that are positive. Make a list of those. If you need to and if it's necessary, carry that list around with you. Read it when you need to. Read it every single day until you start to believe it. Number three is to forgive yourself. And I don't want to undersell how hard this is. There is saying I'm going to forgive myself, and then there's actually forgiving yourself, which is a whole other animal and probably the topic of a whole different video. And that's often because it's a lot easier to forgive other people than it is to forgive ourselves. Again, we like to hold ourselves at a much higher standard than we hold other people to. A really good place that we can start with self-forgiveness is to acknowledge and realize that we all make mistakes. Part of being human is that we're going to make mistakes, and how we want to respond to those mistakes has all of the difference in our outcome of how we perceive these mistakes. So if we're talking to ourselves like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid, I made this horrible mistake, all that is going to do is feed into that negative self-talk that I just talked about, and you're not going to be able to forgive yourself because you're going to be too busy beating up yourself over and over again. And honestly, at the end of the day, this doesn't do anyone any good. It doesn't fix the mistake because we can't change the past, and it's harming your mental health because you're consistently belittling and self-blaming. Where we do have a say is our future. We can always choose to do things differently. The best way that we can respond to mistakes that we've made in the past is not to continually beat ourselves up, but to learn from them, to grow from them. We can do that. When we make a mistake, if something goes wrong in our life, if we screw up, the best way we can respond to that is like, what lessons can I get out of this situation? Another tip is to give yourself a break. You acted from what you knew at the time. You did what you had to do. We act from what we know. And sometimes that action can be positive or sometimes it can be negative and lead to mistakes. But really, we act on what we know. How do we know more? We know more by messing up and learning from it. Number 4 is to embrace your imperfections. Perfectionism is nothing but a dead end. It's a dead end of constant chronic frustration and poor mental health outcomes. We are never going to be perfect. It is an impossible goal. It is a goal that our society likes to glamorize because we want everything to appear pristine, flawless, and perfect, and it's not actually real. Now, you can be a high-achieving, goal-oriented person. You can strive to improve yourself. Self-improvement is awesome. There is a very, very big difference between doing your best and being a perfectionist. Perfectionism is doing nothing but making our society sick, obsessive, workaholics. And we need to stop. We need to start embracing the goal as being progress, not perfection. Number 5 is probably one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves and our mental health, and that is to set boundaries. We need to get comfortable with using the word no. The ability to say no is so important for our mental health. This is something that honestly I've historically struggled with myself. I've definitely what you would refer to as a people pleaser, or at least I have been in the past. It is something that I'm working on trying not to be this by trying to set better boundaries with people and myself. Because it's both. We have to set boundaries with ourselves and we have to set boundaries with other people in order to have positive mental health. I'm going to share a piece of truth with you. Something that might be hard to hear, and it's something that I wish I would have heard a lot earlier on in my life. Not having boundaries with both yourself and other people breeds toxic relationships. You often hear people say, like, I'm a toxic person magnet, or I'm a narcissist magnet, or, I have all of this drama in my life that I don't want anything to do with. There's something wrong with me. It's attracted to me. No, that's absolutely not true. You don't attract any more toxic people than the person next to you. You let them in due to a lack of boundaries, and that is why you are consistently finding yourself in problematic, bad, and toxic relationships, and why this pattern keeps continuing. Really, a hallmark of having poor boundaries is that people-pleasing behavior. People-pleasing is going above and beyond for others out of fear of being disliked or being rejected. It's not so much doing things out of the good of your own heart. It's doing things because you want to make other people happy, and you also completely disregard your own happiness. And you can be a good friend, a good partner, a good son, a good daughter, a good anything, and also still set boundaries. Boundaries protect our mental health, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with embracing the word no. And if anything, we could probably benefit from embracing it just a little bit more. Thank you so much for watching my video today. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. This really does help promote my content to other people that can benefit from it too. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I release new videos every Tuesday and Thursday night, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks and have a wonderful day.